Lecture Tuesdays. Woo!
Super spicy realities to another episode of Lecture Tuesdays, and we are living the SetApart unapologetically.
Living is set apart, unapologetically. Living is set apart, unapologetically. Living is set apart, unapologetically.
And so we're talking about the fact that Elijah prayed earnestly. And so this is Lecture Tuesday, so I'm going to be giving an example. So something happened to me basically. So the Lord gave me an instruction that I should stay somewhere. And now staying there was a position of authority, a position of dominion, a position where I'll be able to flourish spiritually, basically. And it was also a physical location, and the Lord led me to stay there. And to other people, they would have believed it was okay and best for me to leave that location, okay? And I stayed there. And so all of a sudden, it's like saying you are in a spot, okay? And it's a square spot, and there's a dark cloud, basically. And that dark cloud comes with arrows, sharp arrows, basically. But what we're going to be using to represent the arrows are guns. And so there is a mindset, whether it's a principality, a power, enemy, or a believer who just doesn't understand what God is doing with you. And so whether it's their words or their opinions or their actions, it's a form of gun with a bullet in it, and it is pointed directly at me, okay? And I was so locked up, I was so boxed up, I began to pray earnestly that, Lord, you have to deliver me. Because if I have to leave this location that you have told me I'll flourish in, I'm going to be disobeying you. And so it's either I stay here and this bullet hits me and I begin to lose my walk with you. And I know I don't want to lose my walk with God. I love God and I want to keep on loving God. And so God just had to intervene. And so I prayed earnestly. And so as I prayed earnestly, I was very intentional about my actions. I was trying my possible best to shift the mindset with the gun away, or to just maybe, just disassemble the gun or do something. But I was so boxed up. And so with my intentionality, I was hoping that God would come true. And so I was praying, like I said, I was praying and I was trusting God, because I told God, we're at our wit's end, and if you don't intervene, I really don't know what's going to happen. But I don't want to know what will happen, because I love you and I don't want it to ever be otherwise. And I want you to know that after trying my best, my possible best within my power to try and resolve that situation, I decided to rest. You see, during my stay of resting, in fact, I just even couldn't do much because my mind was not at peace. So I just decided to rest. The state of not thinking so much, a state of not focusing on the problem at hand, or just doing something else to divert my mind from the current problem. And I want you to know, by the time I was done resting and I said, let me go back to that situation, I want you to know that God resolved it. So what God did was symbolic to saying the mindset figured out that the gun did not have a bullet in it. And so that meant if the mindset was going to come with the gun again, God had given me strategy on how to resolve that issue. And so I want you to know that God is interested in your problem. You see, when you have problems, be passionate about solving them. Don't say, oh, well, because God is concerned about my trials and God is aware of it, let me just let it be. If it's something you are not comfortable with, it means that you can fight. You can fight in the place of prayer. You can fight by trying all you can, all God has placed with you, form of resources. And also, basically, the kind of miracle I was praying for was either the bullet, because it was so close to me, it's either the bullet hits me and it doesn't go through me. That means the bullet is invisible, and so it doesn't get to me, or the gun didn't have bullets at all, and it was a miracle because the gun had bullets. And so trust God, okay? God is interested in your problems, interested in your worries. Don't say, oh, well, this one is not a big deal. Even if it's just something like, for example, you displaced or misplaced your spice or your earpiece or your AirPods or something you think is insignificant. You think, oh, well, God will find it for me. God can bring a mindset to find. God can lead someone to you or lead you to someone that will help you find that thing. And so you have to be intentional with your prayers. Don't just be passionate with the big things. Be passionate with the little things. They matter. The little steps, the little things can turn into a big problem. And so trust God, okay? That means if you are, for example, you are constantly careless about certain things, it can come to a big deal and you are careless about big things. And so trust God, okay? So this is basically what today's lecture is about. Being earnest and being intentional about taking the efforts and just making sacrifices, and also being hopeful while you rest, while you're not doing anything and you're just focusing on other things, while you're hoping that God will resolve the problem, and of course assurance, because God will do it. And then as much as that problem can be resolved and God sees that it's either you may have to walk out from your walk with him or have to disobey him or do something that he hasn't instructed you to do, God will come through. So trust God. Glory.
Thanks for reading Super Spicy Realities. Be reminded, dear lovelies, to stay unique and unapologetically you in Jesus' name. Thanks always for your likes, your comments, your subscriptions, and for all of your support, especially your prayers. God bless you always and surprise you and meet your deepest needs and grant you your heart desires according to his glorious will and according to your unique destiny strength. God's blessings always, and grant you uncommon favor in this season to pursue whatever he has placed in your hands and to trust him for growth and for wisdom and expansion. God's blessings always, and that's a wrap, baby.